5 steps for stress-free writing. Welcome everyone to another session of Walking with Randy, where we talk about writing, speaking, coaching, marketing, and marriage. Today we're talking about writing once again. 5 steps for stress-free writing. Ralph thought he wanted to write a book, but he got really stressed out whenever he started trying to do it. He went about just starting on the first page. That didn't go very far, didn't do very well for a while. Then he was starting out with fiction. He thought he'd try his hand at nonfiction, and he still had some problems getting started. Finally, he got a plan in mind, and then it came to him, why get stressed out? And so he figured out some ways to come up with some stress-free writing. So that's what we want to talk about today. I had a time whenever I had a job that had a certain number of words a day. That was the goal. And I started out trying to do those number of words every day, but my problem was I was trying to make them the perfect words. And it became very difficult in the writing projects when I was doing that. And then something came back to me that I had learned before, that I should just get something out there. So I started off each day with the idea of just getting something out there. And so I would just start writing. I had a plan already in mind, sort of an outline, or at least a topic, but I would just take off and I would just write, and just write as quickly as I could. And after about an hour and a half or so, I had my word count done for the day. And it was wonderful. Then I could go back and I could just go back over it, take out words, put in words, do some more research, put in some more ideas, research for the upcoming projects that were going to come up in the days in the future, and go back and do some further editing on what I had done back in the past. And that was the secret that became stress-free writing instead of stressful writing during the day. Here's some ideas for you. 5 steps to stress-free writing. First of all, get the big picture in mind. What is it you're wanting to write about? What is the big picture, the overarching idea of what it is that you want to write about? And you might want to try to get down the idea of what you're going to write about in one sentence. Now, don't stress over that though. Just get a sentence down for the idea, or maybe a paragraph, so you get the big picture. Now, the second thing is come up with a basic plan. So once you have the big picture, then try to divide that up into parts. If it is a sequential thing, then figure out what the steps are. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you can hang your ideas upon that. So anyway, first step is you come up with a big picture. The second step is you come up with a basic plan. Now, there's some ways of doing that. I have talked about mind mapping in the past, and so you can do a mind map, or maybe you come up with an outline. An outline can just be major point outlines, or you might have a couple of subpoints under that. Now, if you're really detailed and you are a good person that writes off of real detailed outlines, go for it if that doesn't stress you. But if you're sort of a pantser, somebody that just likes to take off writing and have the creative juices flowing, we want to get both ideas in there as to how you can do that. So just have the overall idea of what you're writing about, and then have some major parts of what you're writing about, and put those down either as outlines, or you can use your mind map. And I often find it helpful to do a mind map and then after that do an outline, and to try not to get too deep into the outline in doing that. Okay, once you've done that, now you have a basic plan. Then you need to write. And so you want that writing to be stress-free. And here are 2 ways that you can do that to make the actual writing part stress-free. I actually already gave you the first one, which is what I started doing every day in that job I had as a staff writer. And but the idea is to do free flow writing. So you find your topic, and then you come to the part in your plan where you're going to write about something in that part. Now, instead of stressing about that, just take off and write. If you don't know how to start, ask yourself a question about it. Then start answering the question. Another way is to just pick a word and take that word and start writing with that. Now, granted, you may go back and change that first 2 or 3 sentences later, but you get started writing. Just write. Some people say don't think. Now, your mind actually will think, but don't think to the point of stressing. And you can always come back and change what you're doing. That is one plan in doing that. The other way is to record yourself. Talk your project out. You can record yourself like I'm doing right now on your phone, or you can do an audio recording on your phone. Then after that, you can go back and you can transcribe that. Or you can use a free transcription service on the internet, and it will come back with, I don't know, maybe 90% accuracy. You won't be done with that, but you can take that later, and then you can turn it into written speech from your spoken speech. You'll want to revise it anyway when you're doing it. So those are 2 ideas. One is just write as fast as you can. Just start. Don't worry about it. Just keep on going. Know that you can edit later. You can add later. You can subtract later. Just write. Get it done. Or speak it out. Speak it out, and then later you'll be able to edit that. So there are 3 processes in doing that. You get the big picture. You have the basic plan. When you're doing the actual writing, just do free writing or free speaking. And now, when you have the basic plan, you need to set a schedule. And there are 2 ways of handling your schedule. You can either come up with a time project, a time goal for the day. So you decide you're going to write, in the case of writing a big project like a book, you're going to write so much every day. Usually anywhere from 30 to an hour and a half, 30 minutes to an hour and a half during a day's time. And during that schedule, then you can use your free flow writing or the speaking to be able to do that. Now, okay, but there are 2 ways even of doing that. One makes time the variable and the number of words the goal. The other way of doing it is to make the number of words the goal, and the time will be the variable. I don't know if I said that right. One way is to make time the constant and the number of words the variable. And the other is to make the number of words the constant and time to be the variable. Depending on your personality, one or the other of those should work for you. So when you come up to a new day, if you're going to word count process. You will just keep going until you get the number of words that you want. And the time may vary when you're doing that. I like the time constant. So I have little projects, and many times I will just write for 5 minutes in free flow writing. And then I'll go to the next word or phrase or idea that I want to write about. And again, I'll just write for 5 minutes. And if I'm through early, I force myself to keep writing. Sometimes those are the things that'll be thrown out later. And if I don't get through on time, sometimes I just put an ellipsis there and know I'll have to finish that one little section later. Now that will drive some of you crazy. So if you want to go with the word count method, but for me, I found this to work very well for me. So let's go over steps. First one is get the big picture. Second one is to have a basic plan. What are the parts of what you're talking about? The third one is to think about free writing or speaking your words. And then the fourth one is to write on a schedule, whether you're going to write 3 times a week or daily. Most writers like to write daily. And then either write for a specified period of time or write toward a number of words. And then the fifth step will be, whenever you've done all of this, you will come up with a draft of your writing. The fifth step is just keep making passes through your writing and change it as you go through. If you go through it 3 times, you'll find that you have gotten it down to a lot better shape and how you might like it. And you just keep going over it until it is how you want it to be, or until your time deadline gets here. But those are some ways that you can do stress-free writing. 5 steps to stress-free writing. Well, I hope these tips have been helpful to you. If you'd like more tips on writing, go to randysblogs.com, and there's a tab up at the top of the page that says writing. And you'll get blog posts and videos included in those blog posts like these. Also, if you're interested in having me come and speak at one of your events, you could go to randycarney.com. And then also have a book that's called How to Write a Book in 28 Days or Less Without Stressing Yourself to Death. Just go to Amazon.com and start searching in How to Write a Book in 28 days or less. By the time you get that far, it's usually up there, but you may have to go all the way to Without Stressing Yourself to Death. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and this is Randy Carney reminding you that you can write a book.